All right, we are down to the last 7 topics of Venn diagrams. So we will do these 7 topics today. One thing to note about these, or to say, I guess, is it is not a bad idea to have the sheet of paper when we're talking about the shading of these. We do the hard one today with the different shading. But it's not a bad idea to kind of have a piece of paper for reference on these. And just go ahead and have some shading so you can refer back to it. Because the easiest way to do these is to do them step by step. So if you have this paper to reference to, it does make it a little bit easier. And you can make 5 or 6, how many ever you wanted to make. One thing I didn't do on all these was label these. I always forget to label them. But if you just had a couple pieces of paper or a couple of these drawn out, it may help you understand or be able to look at the pieces and then take, okay, I'm going to take this one and piece them together, and it will make a new one. So we'll kind of go through a couple of these, but if I'm just shading A, that's going to be just like shade A. And I know most of y'all know that, that's not the issue here, but sometimes it just helps to visually see these. I wonder if I can, hold on, I got a button on my iPad I just remembered. Is that it? Where's it at? It's one of these buttons does a fill. Because I've used it to cheat in color before. Man, can't find it. That's a spray paint one. That's a fancy pen. Okay, I give up. So you can make this sheet. So A, and again, this isn't something groundbreaking information or anything like this, but y'all know it just helps visually to kind of see some of this stuff. So A is just inside A, B is just inside B. And maybe we can refer back to this. Oops. It also would be helpful here, A naught and B naught. So A naught would be everything outside of A. Everything outside of A would be that part right there too. And again, when we go to combine these and just having this sheet of paper to write these out, and you may be drawing them out with me, I can pause and show it to you if you want to. B naught would be everything outside of B. You'll see why we use these in just a second. Those are kind of the big ones. You could go ahead and do A union B and A intersect B. So A union B is everything inside the circles. And watch when I pull up the examples, these won't be helpful at all, but you'll hopefully we'll get lucky and get some of the ones we want to. So just have this sheet, now I can go say, okay, if I got to combine A intersect B with B naught, I can kind of look at that and see that and compare those. It's a little easier for y'all to compare them on a piece of paper. But if I need to combine this one that looks like this and this one, well, what do they share? Well, you can kind of look at them and say they share the middle part. So it is nice to have a couple of those. Those are your main 6 that you see a lot. And we'll see if they're helpful to us at all on doing these, okay? So if I need to go back there for a second, just tell me. This is probably the hard topic for today, or this hard shading one on here. We'll see if this helps us. So I know most of y'all like to do it on the computer. It's the way I would want to do it if I was a student, so that's probably the way I'll do a lot of these problems today. So A naught intersect B. So what you're doing on this one is you're going to graph 2 different ones and you're going to see if they're equal, okay? Because just because they have different symbols doesn't mean that they won't end up being the same thing. So I'll kind of show you that in just a second. So A intersect B naught. Or it was A naught intersect B naught, wasn't it? So here's where this is helpful. A naught intersect B naught are these 2 pictures right here. So if I'm looking for the intersection, that's the and, we're looking at where are these 2 pictures the same. So these two pictures look to me like they would be the same on just the outside of the circle, okay? So like that's where these pictures could be helpful to you. Like instead of having to draw those out every time, you have your little sheet of paper, you can kind of see it and do that. But if you do not have a piece of paper like this, it might be useful to draw out A naught, draw out B naught, and then see which ones are the same there. The other thing you can do is, okay, A naught, oops, that's A. A naught would look like this, right? B naught would look like this. So I think the only thing they share is the stuff on the outside. So you can kind of draw the picture on here and then undo it. That is fine as well. The one on the right, A union B. So A is this. B is this, right? Everything inside of B. So the union means it brings together. So I can leave both of those shadings there. That's the part inside the parentheses. This is what I mean by doing it step by step. A union B is the stuff inside the parentheses, but then I got that apostrophe up there. Remember that apostrophe means not. So what this is actually saying is what is not in A union B, what is not inside the circles, and that would be everything outside the circles, okay? So the point of this topic is to show you, and these are equal, the point of this topic is to show you that just because you have different symbols doesn't mean that you get necessarily different shadings or different numbers or whatever you're looking at. These two symbols actually mean the same thing. A naught intersect B is actually the same thing as A union B, or what's not in A union B. So you just have to play around with these, and I'm telling you right now, somebody was talking about the next section. The next section is logic. To do the next section, you've got to do this stuff step by step to get it. When you try to look at the whole thing, it does make it so much harder. That's kind of like the same thing. So let me find a different one here. Yeah, that's fine. We'll do this one. All right, so this one, A intersect B, is in the circle, or in the parentheses. So A intersect B is only that area right there. A intersect B is only that right there. That's what's inside the parentheses, but we're saying what's not in A and B. So we're saying everything besides that, right? We're saying this and this and this, everything besides that. Okay. On this one, again, if you're doing it on the computer, you may say, okay, A naught looks like this. So just kind of visually remember that. And then B naught looks like this. So what do they share? Well, A naught was part of this, and B naught was part of that. So it should be that. It actually ends up being the same thing again. If you need to, this is where you can go back to your pictures and say, okay, A naught, B naught is union. If I combine this picture with this picture, the only thing that's not shaded is the middle, okay? So this is where these are handy to have, the few references right there for you. And screenshot that. By the way, there's not that many equal. In the last class, it took me like 6 tries to get one that are equal. So in this class, you all were 2 for 2. They were both equal. So you are, just because they have different symbols doesn't mean you're looking at different things. Sometimes it'll be equal, sometimes it won't. Okay. All right. Venn diagram with 2 sets, unions, intersections, and complements. On this one is reading a Venn diagram. Yeah, we'll do a screenshot. This one's not too bad, but you do have to be careful with the symbols. I guess we didn't get to do this on the last one, so we will do it on this one. Reminder of the symbols. The union symbol, it means or bring together. It's what you combine them. The intersection symbol means and it's what they share. And this symbol means not B. It's everything not in B. I don't know if I need to write that again. Everything not in B's, okay? So if you need to write these out, some people are visual, some people like to see these written out. If you want to write these out, that is fine. You could say, okay, C is 2, 5, and 4. D is 4, 3, 6, 7, and 9. You did a topic that looks like this. We did it the other day. But I would go ahead and write the universal 2, like even if you just wrote 1 through 9, just for your reference. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you kind of remember to get all those numbers there. So D naught is everything not in D. That would be 1 and 8 aren't in D, and then 2 and 5 aren't in D. So it would be these and these, right? Those are the ones not in D. C intersect D, C and D. Which one is in C and D? That is only the 4. These people in there drilling. C union D. Okay, so C union D would be all of this, right? It's combining C and D, C or D, but then it says the not. Okay, so it's actually not going to be those. It's going to be these. So it's everything that's not in the circles is what that one is. Everything that's not in C or D. So it would be 1 and 8. So you just had to be careful. Please start doing these step by step. And I stress the step by step because, one, it does make this section easier. But 2 weeks from now when we go into logic, it's going to make that so much easier as well. All right, shading 3 Venn diagrams. I just did the introduction one. I didn't torture you with the hard one here. But to do this one, again, you can kind of just play around with it and, do the undo and the erase and different things. But A intersects C. A intersects C is what they share. So that would be these two areas right here, right? That is where A and C share stuff. But then I want the not of that because there is an apostrophe there. So it's what's not in A intersects C. Sorry, I hit a button. I didn't realize I was hitting buttons. So that's A intersects C, but I want what's not in A intersects C. So it would be everything besides that. Okay? So that's the way that I would do it. Like if I was doing it, because I don't want to draw a bunch of stuff out, like I would write the one and then erase it so I can visually see it. Probably not good for your math professor to say that he doesn't like to write stuff out too. He's going to do a computer, but I know how y'all are, and I'd probably be the same way. So, I'd tell y'all when you really need to write stuff out. Let's do one more of those, see what it generates. Okay, so this one, do it piece by piece. I got B naught. B naught would look like this, right? And then I'm intersecting A. One thing to note here is when you do intersection, it's what they share. So we know like A is, most of y'all can just look at this and say A is everything in the A circle, right? So I'm looking at what they share, so I need to delete everything that they don't share. So it would be everything in A that's not in B. Okay, everything that's not in B and in A. So this makes sense to you in your head. You can do this, but usually when you go through this thought process of shading one and then like adding to it or erasing it, when you do intersection, it's what they share. So you're going to end up using the eraser. When you use union, you're combining them, so you end up adding to the shading. I feel like in y'all's class, the construction next door hasn't been that bad, and now all of a sudden, like they usually do it at 8 a.m., and now they're doing it now. All right, constructing a 2. I might skip topics here just a second. What is this one? Yeah, let's do this one first, and then we'll go to the other stuff. Venn diagram with 2 sets unions in a real world situation. So here you got veterinarians. Dr. Reed and Dr. Perry. R is Reed, P is Perry. So write these in descriptive and roster form. So this is doing with the symbols, but then you got to write it in the descriptive form, which can be tricky because, look, they give you a bunch of different options there, okay? So let's do roster form first here. R and P. R and P, the intersection right there is and. That is what they treat both of those animals. So they treat birds and rabbits. Those are the only two rabbits that they both treat. Okay, what do they share? They share birds and rabbits there. So I am looking for something in the description that these are the animals treated. I'm looking for the word and is what I'm looking for. Or both right there. The set of animal types of the shelter. Oh, not treated. Nope, not that one. That one said not. The set of animal types at the shelter treated by both Dr. Reed and Dr. Perry. It's what the responsibilities that they share there, okay? The next one, and this is the way it happened in the other class. I didn't generate a bunch, but is the complement of that. So what is P and R? Not. So what do they both not treat, okay? So they only treat birds and rabbits together. So that means they treat everything else either by themselves. Wow, my goodness. It was birds and rabbits, right?
Yes.
Okay. So the only thing they treat together is birds and rabbits. So this one is saying, what do they not treat together? What is not in P and R? So that would be everything else. So this would be the ones, that would be the one I clicked on first on accident. The set of animals at the shelter not treated by both of them. Okay, it's okay if they treat them individually, but we are looking at the not both of them. Okay, so that's kind of just combining some of the stuff that we've done so far. You might have already done that topic even. Just be careful with the wording. The wording does always get tricky on those. How is this one? All right. No, we already did that one. This one. This right here is constructing a Venn diagrams in the real world. These can get a little bit tricky. There are some tips and tricks on these. When you do these, so if you just start down and you say, so they surveyed 238 with the results below. The number of freshmen that like rap is 75, classical 184, and both is 75. If I were to just put 75 in here, and then 75 in here, that is incorrect because I only have 75 people that like rap. I do not have 150 people that like rap. So what you actually have to do on this one, it is always easier if you can start in the middle to start in the middle and work out. So if I have 75 people that like both rap and classical, I actually have 0 people that like only rap because the people that like rap and classical do like rap, right? So you have to try to start in the middle here. So in the classical one, there's 184 that like classical, but there's already 75 in that circle. So it is, I subtract them, and it's 109 right there. Okay? So that everything in my circle adds, everything in the classical circle right there adds up to be 184. So this is why it's always nice to start in the middle and work out on these problems to make sure you get those numbers right. And then the last thing that's always a little tricky is we surveyed 238 people. Oops, clicked on the wrong spot there. We surveyed 238 people. In our circles, inside the circles, we have a 75 and a 109. You can add those up and subtract them or just subtract them both. So the people that do not like classical or rap would be 54. Now, the thing that makes it too tricky, just like we did the other day, is we don't have anything in this circle right here, right? There is nothing in that circle, so technically we should do this one because everybody that likes rap liked classical, so all the rap should be inside the classical. There wasn't anybody that liked just rap, okay? How many freshmen like classical but not rap? Now we can look at this and answer these questions. Those questions do kind of guide you to help you fill out the chart, so if you get stuck on those, that is useful. How many freshmen like rap or classical or both? That would be everything inside the circles, the 184. do I want to do another one of those? Let's see if I can generate a different type real quick. There is one other type. I just want to get to it. Okay. On this one, it says they like jazz but not classical. So that would be in the jazz only circle. Okay. Like classical but not jazz, that would be in the classical circle. And then like jazz or classical or both, that's everything inside the circle. Either you like jazz, you like classical, or you like both is 141. But if I do 141 minus 15 minus 126, I get 0. So we need to change the picture to be this. There is nobody that likes both. They either like jazz or they like classical. They do not like both. So always fill out the circle like this first. And then if you get a 0 in one spot, then you change the picture, okay? And then the last thing here, there are 226 total people. And there's 141 inside the circles, so there's 85 that like neither jazz nor classical. We don't